Hi everyone and welcome back to the Torok channel. So the first thing I have to say about this unboxing is that it's a lot of card boxes for a single guitar, a single 269 euros guitar that's crafted in China. But even though they had not printed that it's made in China, I would have guessed, because the fretboard is really super dry, and that's the sign of guitars that are made in China. Don't ask me why, it's just something I have noticed in time. Okay, so you've got here a Jackson GS227 guitar. It's 269 euros. It's one of the most affordable guitar among big brands that you can find, and that's the reason why I have decided to go for it. There are other reasons. First, one of the guys who's following me has asked me to try and demo and review this guitar, so I thought, okay, let's go. Second, it's a wise choice because not only it's not expensive at all, it's got a pretty good reputation, especially for the sound of the pickups, and it's a 26.5 inches scale. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that with my not very long fingers, I'm not feeling very comfortable on long scales. But I think it's 4 years since I haven't tried 26.5 inches scale, so I just wanted to go there again, because to be honest, I'd like to feel comfortable enough to play this kind of scale, because I have a huge limitation in my choice among 7 strings guitar. Either I'm going for a 25.5, and if you want to go for some drop A tuning, well, it's a bit complicated because the scale is not long enough. Or you have to go for a multi-scale guitar. The choice is pretty limited, and yeah, if I could feel comfortable enough to play this kind of scale, it would really be a very good point for me. Okay, so this guitar now, frets, ooh, just a tiny bit scratchy. I don't think it's gonna disturb me. Let's try it in a way. Okay, as you can guess, of course, this guitar is absolutely not in tune. Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, it should not stop me from playing it, but the treatment of the fret on the edge could be better. Oh, super scratchy. No surprise, you know, we're talking about a very affordable guitar, so I will probably have to do something about this. Anyway, I've got something to do for the fretboard that should be in a much better condition. It's much too dry, and maybe when I dry it, well, this problem of frets, is it because the frets are lifting? Maybe it is. At least at some point, maybe it is. Okay, that's what you might get when you go for some very affordable guitars, you know. It's not a matter of brand. You would have the same thing on Harley Benton, you have the same thing on Jackson. Apart from LTD guitars, I've never had this kind of problem on LTD guitars. Even the cheap MH10 was in better condition than this one. And it's the same price, by the way. Okay, anyway, so, well, you've got a very cheap interpretation of a hipshot bridge here. Okay, the guitar set in black finish. Well, nothing special to say about it. It's okay, of course. Pretty massive neck heel, but yeah, the access to the 24 fret might not be super comfortable. Okay, that's problem of conception, but you know, considering the price, I mean, that's not a surprise for me. Apart from that, well, this thing looks cool. I think I will have to change the strings, because I think it's 9 to 54, if I'm not wrong. I have bought a set of 9 to 62 JHS Boomer, and I think it's going to be much better for me. Okay, now I think it's time to plug this thing in, see how it sounds, and write the demo in the mix. Here we go. Okay, so what you've just heard is this Jackson GS 22.7 played in the mix. Just for you to know, the tune I have chosen for this demo is C standard and not B standard. Okay, now we're gonna talk about what you couldn't see here through the demo about this guitar. There's a lot to say, but just before we go there, I would like to ask you to subscribe to this channel if it's not already done. Leave thumbs up, share, comment, well, all the kind of things that are gonna help the channel be discovered by many people. And if you order anything from my partner Thomann, this guitar or anything else, please use my partner link. It's gonna be in the description down below. You have to know that when you click my link, you are on the German page of Thomann. So if you're like me, you don't speak German, you click the German flag, you choose your own, and you click save, and there you are. Now, if you want to make 100% sure that you are really on my partner page and nowhere else, you can use the second link that's in the video description. It's gonna lead you to a list of highly recommended gear, recommended by me, of course. There you will see my banner and my logo, so you're sure that you're already on my partner page. Okay, thanks in advance for your help, and now let's talk about this guitar. I'll start as usual with the headstock. So, black headstock with white Jackson logo. You've got also white Jackson logos here, and those nice little shark tooths that avoid the guitar from being completely black, as some sort of, for instance, would be. I think it's better this way, because at least when you have not very bright light in your room, well, you know where the guitar is. You know, that's always better. Okay, the tuners. Classic stock tuners, not, well, Jackson branded, but you know, not some top of the line like some Grover, Goto, Spurzle, this kind of things. They are doing the job very honestly, very nicely. I've got no reproach to do with those tuners. The ratio should be 14.1, if not 12.1, but they're okay. I'm gonna spend a bit of time on the truss rod cover, and especially on the screws that are holding this truss rod cover. The screws are total rubbish. What I mean is, they are soft screws put inside. Well, the wood is not that hard, but I don't think there has been a drill that has been done before the screws were installed. So what I have discovered when I have to remove the screws is that if I didn't pay attention, I could distort the head of the screw and maybe not remove the screw anymore. It's always a pity, because if you don't pay attention, if you go too hard, you distort the head of the screw and you cannot remove it anymore. There's a risk that you damage the head of the guitar just because the brand decided to go for the cheapest possible screws. And well, I mean, we are talking about Jackson, that belongs to Fender, one of the 3 major brands in this world. I guess they can install some better screws and avoid this kind of problem. Okay, just saying. So I spend more time removing and reinstalling the screws than setting the action with the truss rod. Just keep that in mind. Now, the nuts. Well, ABS plastic nuts. Very nicely installed, no problem, nothing sharp, and it doesn't hold the strings. You have to know that this guitar is coming stock with a set of 9 to 52 strings. 52 is the string gauge I'm using on my 6 strings when I tune to drop D, or sometimes drop C sharp, especially when I have 25.5 inches. So playing B with 52 strings, I mean, no, I could not go there. So I have changed the strings for 9 to 46 plus an added 60, and I have tuned in C. Now, I thought there would be a problem because of this low B string that's much thicker than what it used to be, but no, absolutely no problem, so good job. The frets, as I have mentioned when I have unboxed the guitar, they needed to be polished, and that's what I have done. The fretboard had to be oiled, okay? The frets are neither bad nor good. I mean, if you have time, if you are able to do it by yourself, you can make them more plan, but I mean, it's acceptable. I have been able to set the action to 2.5 and 2 millimeters. I didn't dare going lower than 2 millimeters because I was afraid I could have some string burst, and I don't like that at all. The bridge, pretty good, very comfortable to put your palm on. No problem for adjusting the intonation. I think you can go very low in terms of intonation. Now I'm in C. I have tried to play this guitar in B. I have tried to play in drop A, and every time no problem with the intonation, so okay. The parts are having a very good grip. That's very interesting. And the blade is working absolutely normally. So I don't have a lot to reproach with this guitar. It's okay, apart from, well, really, the problem is the stupid screws. I hope you will not have the same problem, but be careful if you buy this guitar. Okay, now we're going to talk about the playability of this guitar, as usual, but I'm also going to tell you about what it feels playing a 26.5 inches scale guitar with my fingers that are, I would not call them short, but not very long. 5 years ago, the first 7-string guitar I have bought was a Schecter Demon 7, again another 26.5 inches scale, and there were certain licks or certain chords that I had problem playing because it felt like my fingers were not long enough. So in time my left hand position has improved, so now it's time to see if I still have this kind of problem. So if you have not very long fingers just like me, I'm going to show you 3 simple licks that I'm going to play with a 25.5 inches scale, classic Fender Strat, Super Strat guitar, and I'm going to try and duplicate those positions on the neck of this guitar. So if you have the same kind of problem as me, if you're not sure you can play comfortably on 26.5 inches scale, well, maybe that's going to help you decide and determine if this scale is made for you or not. Here we go. So I'm gonna use my Schecter Damien Platinum 25.5 inches scale, and the first lick that could be a problem on a longer scale is this one. It's a chord. Okay, let's call it F5 add 9 or F sus2, call it what you will. Okay, on this guitar it works. As you can notice, my little finger is not really on the edge of the fret because, well, I cannot stretch my fingers much longer than this, but it sounds normally. The action on this guitar is really very low. I pretty much never play it clean, but okay. Second lick that could be a problem is a pentatonic lick with 3 notes per string. And other kind of licks like this, but you know, pentatonic with 3 notes per string. So 15, 13, 10, 15, 13, 10 on the B, on back up. On this guitar, no problem. My fingers are really on the edge of the frets, so it's okay. And the third lick that could be a problem is in fact an arpeggio. It's an E minor arpeggio. So 7 to 3 on the high E, 5 on the B, 4 on the G, 5 on the D, 7 on the A, and really I think I should lift the action a little bit on this guitar because it's buzzing a lot. Haven't played it in a while. Never mind. Okay, so when I play this, my little finger is on the edge of the 7th fret when my index is on the edge of the 3rd fret, so I can play this lick pretty comfortably. You can try this kind of licks at home, see how you feel, see where your fingers are, and so you have a point of comparison between your fingers and mine. And now let's move back to the Jackson and see if I can play the same licks with no problem. So the first one. As you can hear, there's a little bit of fret buzz here on the A string because my finger is not on the edge of the fret. It would not be heard through an amp. It kind of works, and of course it's I move there. It becomes way more comfortable, but I mean, I can do it. And to be honest, I generally don't go for this kind of chord so low. Generally I try to play it from the first fret, and there it's okay. Second lick, the pentatonic lick with 3 notes per string. Okay, no problem. My fingers are really on the edge of the fret. No problem. And finally, the E minor arpeggio. Sorry. It's okay, but again, my little finger is not on the edge of the fret. As you can see, you cannot stretch it more than this. But okay, I can play this kind of really stretching licks or chords on the 26.5" scale, and to be honest, I haven't encountered no problem playing this guitar. The shape of the neck is really very interesting. You've got a super thin U with a very flat back. Really, it's the first time playing a Jackson. I did not expect that, but if you do compare with an LTD, for instance, you've got the same kind of U shape, but flatter here on the back, with a 16 inches radius that really feels very comfortable for a 7-string guitar. Now, if you're another beginner, you have never played a guitar, any kind of guitar, or barely played a guitar, and you want to start playing with the 7 strings, for the classic kind of chord like this, or for this kind of, you might not feel very comfortable playing this in the very first place. When you start playing, generally you prefer something that's less flat, with maybe a 14 or 12 inches radius, and the neck that's not that flat on the back. But if you want to play power chords or shred on this thing, well, really it's great, and really very nice to play. The access to the 24th fret, as you can see, it's pretty complicated for me to go up there. I would say that the access to the 24th fret is acceptable on the high E and the B, potentially on the G, but going higher and trying to reach the 24th fret is really very complicated due to a pretty big neck hill. But I mean, it's acceptable, and maybe it's the only downside I've noticed in terms of playability, because apart from that, the guitar is pretty light. Sorry, 3.4 kilograms, not really very heavy. The neck is really very good, and the balance, of course, as we are talking about a super strat guitar, is absolutely okay. The bridge is fine. So playability is really very nice on this guitar. And now we're gonna listen to this guitar played alone, clean, dirty, bridge, middle, neck, and then I'll come back to tell you my thoughts about the pickups. Here we go. I had read on Thomas' comments that those pickups were really very good sounding, and that was one of the reasons why I had chosen this guitar for the purpose of this review. And yes, those pickups are sounding pretty good. They've got enormous output, good note definition, really very nice. But as you have also heard, they are pretty noisy, and that's the main downside, because you've got a lot of output. Even if you don't push the gain too hard, well, you're gonna have really a lot of bite. But it looks like there's a problem with either the shielding or the components. The shielding, as you can see on the pics up there, is done. I'm not sure it's the best the best shielding I have seen in my life, but it looks okay. Maybe it would be better with some copper shielding. Now I'm pretty sure the electronic components are poor, so maybe if you change the pots, the blade, the jack input for some better quality components, and you change the cable as well, maybe you will have something more silent. But that's a real pity that those pickups are really so noisy. And I mean, 269 euros, okay, but you know, if it was more silent, it would be really much more comfortable to play and to hear, especially through the headphones I'm using. But okay, I enjoyed those pickups, I enjoyed the tones they have. I've got a nice clean tone with nothing crunching, so yeah, great. So what do I think about this guitar overall? Well, for 269 euros you got something pretty satisfying. Of course, it's not flawless, and for the price, I mean, that's not what you should expect. There's a big gap in terms of prices between this and the next big brand 7 strings you could find. I think that the next Jackson is something like 550 or 600 euros. If I'm thinking about other good brands that are doing 7 strings guitar, let's talk about ESP Ltd. I think the EC257 is 550, something like that. If I go to Schecter, the C7 should be 500. You know, between this 270 euros guitar and the next one that's 500, well, there's nothing. So you can go for this one and say, well, okay, I'm gonna improve what has to be. Maybe change the entire electronics so the pickups are less noisy. You don't need to change, as far as I'm concerned at least, you don't need to change the tuners or the nuts, but there's something to do by the electronics, and what you have to change, of course, are those stupid screws that hold the truss rod cover, because in time, at least one of them will be distorted and you will not be able to remove it anymore. Apart from that, well, it's a pretty satisfying guitar, it's a nice player, it looks okay. Well, of course, it's a very basic and simple finish, but I mean, it always works. Black matte guitars always work. When I'm looking on the used market for some Schecter Demon 7, because I want to buy one again, I only see black Schecter Demon 7s, where you have to know it does exist in red and in white as well, but I mean, there's something with matte black finishes that people enjoy, and I do understand that because I do enjoy it myself. So a very interesting guitar. If I do compare it very quickly with the Harley Bentons I have reviewed and the multi-scale, of course, maybe you're not into multi-scales guitar and you will not even think about it, but this one remains comfortable to play. The tone of the pickups is much better than what I had on the Harley Benton, especially the R457. But they were good guitars as well. The playability was pretty nice. Maybe you would hesitate, but I think that with this guitar you can keep the pickups. With the Harley Benton, especially the R457, you will probably change the pickups at some point, and a set of good pickups, similar Duncan, EMG, Fishman, this kind of things, is pretty expensive. So this one would be finally less expensive because you're not changing the pickups, you just have to change the electronic components, maybe do some better shielding, and so you have a guitar that plays nice, sounds nice, and feels less noisy. So good guitar for a first 7, or for someone who wants another 7 strings, why not? Yeah, I will add it to my recommended list. Okay, well, I think I've said it all. That's it for today. So thanks for watching, and see you next time for the next video.